Having the ability to read faster can bring you a multitude of benefits. Wouldn't your life be so much easier if you could just quickly blast through those tedious reading assignments? Think how much more fun it would be if you could devour books you enjoy for entertainment. Imagine how your life can become more productive and fulfilling if you could get new ideas and strategies from the best and brightest authors in your field. Hi, I'm Matt DeMeo, and welcome to my channel, Be Smarter, Faster. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and make sure you hit that little, I guess maybe it's over here, hit that little bell for notifications so that you'll know whenever I have a new video. Now, I also have a free report that I think you'll like, and getting on my list is a great way for me to also keep in touch with you. Now, you'll see the link for it in the comments in the written description below the video. Now, in this video, you're going to discover the very best and easiest system to reading faster than you ever did before. One of my core philosophies is that none of us is as smart as all of us. And so what you're going to get in this video is not just one man's opinion. You see, in my quest to bring you the most effective strategies, tactics, and tricks, I've done a significant amount of investigation to weed out all the garbage ideas that are out there. And believe you me, there's plenty of those. So I only bring you the best and easiest ways that are proven to get you reading faster than you ever did before. Now, before we go too much further, there are two aspects to this whole speed reading thing that I want to address up front. One is being able to actually read what's on the written page faster. That's what we're going to cover in this video. The other is being able to understand, remember, and recall the information that you read, and we're going to get into that in the complementary, in the companion video, okay? So, let's get started. Now, one of the dopiest things I've seen in most videos, blogs, and articles is that speed reading is somehow a one-size-fits-all type of approach. That's complete nonsense. Your reading technique needs to be adjusted a bit depending on what you're reading. Look, you can read for the pure pleasure and entertainment of it. You can read for the purposes of self-improvement. But probably the reason that you're watching this video is that you're dealing with textbooks and required reading assignments that you simply want to read faster. Now, I've got some books right here from each of those different categories. Two are written by good friends of mine. The first is a novel called Imperfect Heroes by D.J. Kelly. This is a very funny and often thought-provoking story about one man's adventures with online dating. Now, I'm just going to open it up at random, but I want you to notice the size and the spacing of the text. There are no illustrations or charts or graphs. It's a novel, and you're going to read this just for the fun of it. By the way, that's my buddy David right there. All right, now let's compare the way a novel is laid out compared to the way many business books and self-improvement books are laid out. Now, this is a great book for entrepreneurs of all types. It's about achieving your goals through innovation and the willingness to change. It's called Start Ugly. In other words, start wherever you can. Don't worry about it being perfect. And it's from my buddy Chris Kremitzos. Now, let's take a look. I'm just going to flip through a few of the pages, and you'll notice that the font is different. There's a lot more white space. There's the occasional images. So your approach to reading this is going to be a little bit different than with the novel. Now here we have one of my daughter's former high school textbooks. This one happens to be on the environment. Now you'll notice that it's much larger, much bigger, and when we open it up, I'm just going to open it up randomly here. The first thing that you'll notice is that there are different color fonts. So we've got red and blue. You'll notice different size fonts. You'll notice how much smaller the text is. You'll also notice how much denser it is. There's lots of graphics. Here, I'm going to move a little closer. There's lots of graphics. Now, frequently you'll also find out that at the end of the chapters, there is a chapter review where they actually give you a quiz. So with different types of material, you'll need to apply slightly different methods to be able to read it. I'm sure that makes sense, right? Now for a shameless plug. Here's one of my books. It's called How to Remember People's Names. I'm going to use this for some of the examples of the techniques that we're going to be covering as we go through the rest of this video. But before we talk about how to read faster, let's look at what's slowing you down. See, understanding the problem is half the solution. Let's examine what you may be doing now. The way you read has become a habit. There are probably some things that you're doing that are self-defeating. You're sabotaging yourself with your own bad habits. But habits aren't formed overnight, and neither are they changed overnight. In fact, studies have shown that it takes 21 days at the minimum to create a new habit. So you need to be committed to your own success for at least 21 days in a row. Now, changing a habit is uncomfortable. Even small changes can be uncomfortable. So I've got a little demonstration for you. So I want you to play along at home. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I do this. So what I'd like you to do is fold your hands. Just interlace your fingers together and fold your hands. And notice the way your fingers are interlaced with each other. Now in my case, my right thumb is on top, my left pinky is on the bottom. All right, now I want you to do this. I want you to feel what it's like when you change the order that your fingers are folded in. Now, my left thumb is on top and my right pinky is on the bottom. And just notice that just a simple change like this, notice how it feels. It feels weird. It feels bad. It's uncomfortable. And so you're going to resist it. As a matter of fact, the next time you fold your hands, you're probably going to go back and do it the way you've always done it, just like your reading habits. But you've got to do it a new way, and for a while, when you're doing it this new way, it's going to be uncomfortable, and there's going to be a level of resistance. So just be aware of that. It's perfectly normal, and you need to deal with it if you want your reading to get a lot faster. Now, you may think that this is a training video. However, this is not training. We're simply talking about training. Just like if you were an athlete, the coach doesn't give you a pep talk and now you're trained. No, you have to go out onto the field or into the gym and do the work. You train you. The coach is there to give you encouragement and advice and help tweak your performance, like what I'll be doing here. So let's take a look at some of your current reading habits to see what may need to change. Let me ask you, have you ever gotten to the bottom of a page and can't remember anything you just read? Sure, it happens to people all the time. The problem is not a reading problem. It's a concentration problem, or rather, a lack of concentration. If you want to do better with your reading, you must eliminate your distractions. Look, I see some people trying to read or study their textbooks with a TV on, or even worse, with their phone playing music videos or YouTube videos or whatever. Well, that just plain does not work. It's okay to listen to music while you're studying and while you're reading. In fact, I recommend it. But it's better to listen to something soothing and instrumental. Now, you may choose something like classical music. Good choices are Mozart or Bach that have been shown to actually improve your cognition. Now, the worst choices are things that cause you to sing along or pay attention to it because it weakens your concentration. Your focus needs to be on what you're reading, not on the music. So what's happening when you get to the bottom of a page and can't recall what you just read? You're distracted. Your mind wanders. Now, the natural tendency is to read it again more slowly. Bad idea. Instead, read it again faster. That helps force you to pay more attention. Think about it this way. When you're out driving in your car and you're going slow, well, you've got time to look around and see the scenery and whatever's around you. When you're driving really fast, you've got no time to be looking around. You've got to focus on driving. Just think of the level of concentration professional racers need to have. I'm sure that makes sense to you now that I've explained it and given you an example. Now, the next bad habit that people have is called subvocalizing. That means you're talking to yourself as you read. Some people's lips actually move when they read. Now, you're limited as to how fast you can speak. In truth, you can read 3, 4, 5 times faster than you speak pretty quickly with what you're going to learn here. Now, the first thing to do is to be aware of reading under your breath. One thing I've seen people do to help break them of the habit is to chew gum while they read. Look, that idea is not for everybody. Maybe you want to have a mint, or you may want to just try the idea out if you happen to be one of those people who moves your lips while you're reading. When you begin to read a lot faster, you will automatically stop subvocalizing. In truth, your mouth won't be able to keep up. Another bad habit that readers have is called regression. Let me show you. Here is what regression is. All right, so you're reading the page, you're down to about here, and then your eye jumps back up over to here. Or you're reading over here at the end of a sentence and your eye jumps back over to here. Now, you may not have ever been aware that you're doing it, but pay attention as you read from now on, and you may catch yourself. It's a natural thing to do, but it's killing your speed. Now, there's a part of this whole eye movement thing that can start sounding pretty technical, and I really don't want to bog you down with it. It's called saccadic eye movement. You can look it up. The word is saccades. Now, oh, by the way, it's not psychotic eye movement, saccadic eye movement. In a nutshell, it means that unless you're focusing on something specific, your eyes move in jumpy little movements and then stop for a split second, fixate on this, and then fixate on something else before jumping around again. Look, this stuff happens in hundredths of a second, so you won't really notice that you're doing it until you stop. Now, those tiny eye movements are another thing that's slowing you down. Your eyes need to follow the words on a page in a smooth but fast flow instead of jumping around the way they naturally do. So here's the solution, and it's a really simple one. Your eyes need to follow something, like your finger, or a pen, or a pencil. You can even use a chopstick. If you're on a computer, use your mouse as your pointer. Every single speed reading course tells you to do this. Every single person who reads really fast does this. So if you want to read faster, you have to do it too. All right, so let me show you how it looks. With novels, or a book like mine, it's easy. You're going to use your finger or another kind of a pointer and underline the words as you go. So let's say you're reading over here, we got the headline, and then now you're going to read, and your eye will follow your finger as you go. By the way, you do not need to start at the very far left-hand margin and go to the very far right-hand margin. You can indent a word or two on both sides. That'll save you some time, it'll speed you up, and your peripheral vision will pick up the word or two on each margin that you're not underlining. And just doing that by itself will dramatically speed up your reading. We're going to let you test it and see for yourself in a minute. Now, you want to push yourself to go a little faster than you think you can. Oftentimes, I hear people tell me that it's not like reading anymore. In fact, it's more like watching a movie. Your mind just absorbs the story. Now, we're going to cover speed reading, the other two types of books, business and self-improvement books, and textbooks, in the companion video to this one. And that's because I really want to dig into the idea of how to retain and recall the information when you need it, not just read it faster. Now, like I told you at the beginning, most other courses, videos, or articles, they just lump everything together. And that's why so many people have such bad results when they attempt to do this for themselves. I want you to have real results real fast. So here's a quick review. First, it's not whether or not you can read faster, it's whether or not you're willing to break the bad habits that are slowing you down now. Like I showed you with the example of interlacing your fingers, even small changes can be uncomfortable and your natural tendency is to resist it. But bad habits are self-destructive. So you need to develop some good new habits, and that'll take at least 21 days in a row. The most important new habit to develop is to use a pointer to read faster. Now, whether that's your finger, which is probably the easiest, or of a pen or of a highlighter, or whatever it is that you're using. Remember, on a computer, you can use your mouse. By itself, that one thing can improve your speed by 50% or much, much more. You might find that your speed doubles or triples pretty quickly, depending on how bad your other habits are. The next bad habit to change is to stop subvocalizing. If you talk along under your breath, well, then you can only read as fast as you can speak, which is usually about 200 words a minute or so. Now, one possible cure that we mentioned is if you find that you're one of those that moves your lips as you read, chew some gum or suck on a mint. Just be aware that you're doing it. The other new habit you need to develop is to read faster than you think you can, faster than you're quite comfortable with, because it forces you to focus better. Remember, it's natural to go back and read slower, but that's the exact opposite of what you need to be doing. However, if you have something that's particularly difficult to understand, you may need to isolate that point and think it through. Now, we'll get more into that in the next video when we dig into retention and recall of textbooks and business books. Remember, the more distractions you have, the less mental strength you have. Multitasking is the death of concentration. Now, I get into the entire topic of focus and concentration in my 9-part video series here on my channel called Instant Concentration: How to Focus Your Mind in a World of Information Overload. I hope you check it out. One more thing. In the description below the video, I've included a link where you can test your reading speed before and after using what you're learning here. Be sure to check it out. It's a free site, and that's always a good thing, right? Now, if you feel that this video has helped you, be sure to give it a like or drop me a comment. I often reply, so don't be surprised if I respond to you. And as always, this is Matt DeMeo, reminding you that everything I teach takes just a little bit of work and effort, but it's worth it. Always remember that the fastest way to get to the top is to get off your bottom. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the next video.